Hello, beautiful soul. I'm Vicki Howie of ChakraBoosters.com, the creator of Chakra Boosters Healing Tattoos. And right now I'm on the road, so I'm shooting off my computer, not from my camera, and I thank you for being patient with me because I wanted to do this video for you. And which one is it? Well, we're going to look at third eye goddesses. We're now on the 6th video in a series where I'm showing you 3 goddesses for each chakra that boost and heal that chakra. So we're now on the third eye. Woo! And it's a big deal to open your third eye and be connected to your higher self. And this is your highest feminine. It represents your psychic abilities, your intuition, your love of beauty, your sense of justice. Now remember, the third eye is where the Ida and Pingala, the 2 energies that work their way up to the third eye through the chakras, come together, the masculine and the feminine. And when they do, there's a balancing, there's an equilibrium, there's an ability to really look at things from the highest, most complete perspective. So this is the wisdom chakra, deep feminine embodied wisdom. And like I said, love of beauty, psychic abilities, imagination. This is the place for all of that. So let's look at which 3 goddesses I chose. And remember, the way I work with the goddesses are I choose 3 different ones, usually from different cultures, so that we can have different flavors. And also I pick the goddesses for their differences, that they each show a slight or emphasize a slightly different aspect of each chakra. If you haven't seen the other videos in this series, I'll leave the link below so you can look at all of those. It's really, really fun to tap into the goddesses because they're so human and yet they're superhuman. So they give us something to aspire to, but at the same time, they have qualities, human qualities that we can relate to. So let's look at the 3 that I chose for the third eye chakra. And of course, if I don't name the one that you would choose, please feel free to share that. I would love to hear from you. So I'm doing this in like layers of popularity, the first being the least known and then a little more popular and the most popular goddess at the end. So our first goddess is Norse and her name is Vor. V-O with the 2 dots, I don't even know what you call that, R. And I'm going to say Vor or Ver is what I heard it was. I'm probably butchering it and I'm so sorry. But let's just say Vor for right now. And she's a Norse goddess that is known for her wisdom. Her name actually means aware. Some people say that it means careful, like being aware, like being careful. But it has these different definitions to it, but it's pretty cool because this really is the awareness chakra, the 2 upper chakras, the crown and the third eye. But the third eye is the embodied one. It's the one that we're aware in form, okay? We're aware while embodied in this beingness. And this goddess was known in Asgard. Asgard is a Norse place it's mythical. It's not actual. And gods were in Asgard. And at this place, she was known, Vor was known for being the diviner of water. She found all the wells for the people of Asgard. So I think that's really cool because the water's feminine and divining for it is the highest feminine. So it's like we're including the different feminine chakras. The sacral is the water and the third eye is all about intuition, ESP, divination of any kind. So I think that's pretty cool. That's what made me pick her for this list. I did, she's known for not you can't conceal things from her. Like, she's known by the Norse as being just so wise and so aware. You can't hide anything from her, which is great for the third eye, in my opinion. And I got something off the internet from Loffin's Bard, Lofn''S Bard. And on that site, there was an invocation for Vor. So I want to share that with you here, because I think it'd be fun for you to be able to just call her in if you'd like. So this is for Vor. It goes like this. Gracious Goddess, knowing one, help me now to see how to read and how to tell truth from fantasy, thick or thin, smooth or snag, in the tapestry, wool to hand, eyes to lips, knowing sets us free. And I love tapestry in this, and the complications of the words and everything overlapping, because part of the third eye is knowing or being able to see everything in the tapestry. Again, it's the highest vision that we can have. So being able to see the different threads, to be able to see different people's opinions. That's why the third eye is such a wonderful, like, I always think of a really wise feminine judge. And even if it's a man, he's got a lot of feminine compassion, this kind of judge, and can look from everyone's perspective. Can you feel that? So Vor is our first goddess, okay? And if you want to give me lessons on how to pronounce that, I'm fine with it. Okay, so the second goddess is a little more known, and her name is MOTT, M-A-A-T. She's an Egyptian goddess, and a very, very revered goddess. And some people say that MOTT was like these laws. There were 42 laws before the 10 Commandments. There were 42 of these Egyptian laws, and they were about how to live a good life, how to be a good person. And if you lived in this way, you were MOTT. You were considered living MOTT, like living in harmony, in truth, in justice, in fairness. In Doreen Virtue's goddess cards that I use a lot, MOTT is fairness. That's the meaning of her card. So she was known in the Egyptian culture to be also connected to the underworld, as is our final goddess as well too. And MOTT was often shown, she was often pictured with wings on each arm or a feather coming off of her head. And I love that, because feathers are often spiritual freedom, because birds take flight. And this feather, she became known for this feather. And what would happen is when someone would pass, the Egyptians would take out all the organs of the person before burying them, but not the heart, because the heart was considered part of the soul. And the heart was to be measured in the afterlife. And what it was measured against was the feather, a single feather from MOTT. And if the heart of the person who had passed was lighter than MOTT's feather, then it was said the person lived a virtuous life. And this was not just justice and truth the way we think of it. It was like harmony with nature, being in harmony with others, the way you treated other people. It was a very beautiful, deep kind of sense of fairness and justice and being a virtuous person. It wasn't just a single set of rules. It was like really being good. So I just love that story, weighing the feather. I'd heard the story before. I didn't really know it came from MOTT until I was researching her more for this video. So MOTT was the daughter of Ra. And this is key. This is important. Ra is the sun god. And the R-A is actually the sound, the seed sound for, well, Ram, R-A-M, Ram, 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 is the seed sound for the third chakra, the solar plexus. And it's the masculine warrior chakra there. And it's very related to the third eye. You have first, second, third chakra, the third chakra up, and then you have fourth, fifth, sixth. They're like an octave apart, so to speak. It's like 3 and then 3. And they're both about sight. The third chakra, the solar plexus, is about outer sight, and the third eye is about insight. And what's really cool is Ra was Mott's father, and that's kind of really, you have that connection here. And then Ra was often, Mott was often called the Eye of Ra. Isn't that interesting? The Eye of Ra. So literally saying like sort of the eye of the third chakra, which is how those two are related, because this is the fire chakra in the solar plexus, and this is the light chakra, light and fire. So they're very connected and very, very different. One's looking outward and being masculine, singular. The other's looking inward and being feminine and taking everyone's perspective, not being singular at all. Can you feel that? So Mott was a very well-known goddess, and I love the concept of weighing the heart against the feather of Mott. So we have the concept so far of just this overall wisdom, and we have the concept of truth, justice, harmony, order, even really beauty in life, because Mott was known a lot for beauty too. I had a quote, but it was so long I wasn't able to keep it in here, because they mentioned in this quote, this one writer, she mentioned about the order and beauty that Mott represented. So you probably wouldn't use that one as an invocation because it was longer. So we'll just leave it at that she was known for the order and beauty that she stood for as well. And finally, goddess number 3 is really well known for her magic. And this is very important, I think, for the third eye. And this goddess is Hecate. Some people say Hecate and some people say Hecate. In the Shakespeare play, little known play called Macbeth, she's called Hecate, just singular like that, no extra syllable. But that particular scene's often left out of the play, and it's often said that somebody else, a later writer, I can't think of his name right now, wrote it and not Shakespeare. No one knows for sure, but there's a lot of agreement around that. So we'll stick right now with Hecate, okay? I'll say Hecate, and she is known for her magic and her connection to witchcraft, crossroads, like when you're at a crossroads and you have to make a huge decision in life. She's known for that. And she's a protector, actually, of people from the underworld, or if they have to go into the underworld, or anything having to do with ghosts or the underworld or witchcraft, and we're talking good witchcraft. A lot of times in our culture, we hear witchcraft and we think only black magic, but there's lots and lots of white magic. And this is what Hecate is about. She holds a torch. She lights things. So here we are again with the light chakra, and she's holding the torch. And she's a way shower because she actually accompanied Demeter, who I talked about earlier, whose daughter Persephone was kidnapped by Hades and taken into the underworld. Demeter had to go after looking for her daughter, and Hecate took Demeter there, and eventually Hecate stayed with Persephone because Persephone ended up staying in the underworld for most of each year. For one seasonal part of it, she would stay with her mother in the world, and then she'd go back to the underworld. And Hecate was her handmaiden there, accompanied her there, was her assistant there, so to speak. And the cool thing about Hecate, she's a triple goddess. She is a triple goddess. And she is often said to represent the maiden, the mother, and the crone. And what's cool about that is that those are the representatives of the 3 feminine chakras. The sacral is the maiden, right? Because she's the one who's the most fertile, the young one who's going to give birth through her womb. And she's also the muse, the coquettish one. She's the young one, the maiden. Then you have the heart, the mother, the mother energy in the heart, the unconditional love, the healing, kissing boo-boos, being the mom. And finally, you have the crone, the wisdom, the third eye. So Hecate sort of represents all 3 of those, and all 3 of those represent the full spectrum of the feminine chakras and going on up to the third eye, which is the highest feminine chakra. So let me read something for you on an invocation to Hecate, and it goes like this, if you want to call her in. Hecate, beautiful crone of the night, I call upon you to put things right. Transform the negative thought, fear, and pain, and help my life be whole again. So if you want to call in Hecate for your third eye, that's a good one. Let's see, what else do I want you to know? Well, she was a Titan. She's part Titan. Her father was Perseus, and her mother was a nymph. So this is why she's so flexible. And that's the power of the third eye. It can go and be anything, anywhere. It can see anyone's perspective. It has this top of the mountain view of everything. It's the highest embodied chakra. And she was a Titan, and from her father being a Titan and her mother being a nymph. So she really has it all, Hecate. And she's very much the one to go to if you're creating any kind of spell, any kind of divination. And if you have a favorite of one of these 3, please let me know. Or if you have a goddess I haven't mentioned that you really, really love and want to be on this list, please let me know. For now, these are the 3 goddesses for the third eye. And I thank you for going on this journey with me, and for going on this journey with me through the whole series. And I will see you on the next video. It won't necessarily be next week for the crown. I'm not sure what's coming next week just yet, but the crown is coming up. And I hope you have a lovely week full of intuition, beauty, fairness, justice, and equilibrium, good equilibrium, and lots of love. I'm sending you many blessings.